Government Watch. At 9 a.m. Yuba, supervisors have a $10 million loan on the agenda to keep a sewer project moving. At 3 p.m. Sutter supervisors have a citizen-written ballot measure to replace a fire service parcel tax. It may be on the special August ballot for CSA of voters to have their say. At 6:30 p.m. Marysville, Unified School Trustees have a lot on the consent agenda and Teacher Appreciation Week. At 7 p.m. in Yuba City, School Trustees act on new course proposals and a consent agenda with lots of stuff. Tuesday on Government Watch, you can support or sponsor. Help keep the community aware with Yuba-Sutter.LIVE.
Good morning. Dear Heavenly Father, Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ, we honor you this morning and we welcome you to join this meeting. We present ourselves to you in humility, acknowledging your sovereign power and authority over this governing body. We pray all business today would be conducted in humility and the fear of the Lord. Your thoughts are so much higher than our thoughts, and your ways so much higher than ours. So we ask this morning for heavenly wisdom. We ask for heavenly insight and understanding regarding all the matters before this board today. We pray that you would guide each discussion and bring forth all the information necessary for sound and confident decisions. We pray that you would help this governing board and administration to be wise and faithful stewards of the finances and resources of Yuba County, doing all things in the best interests of the citizens and in conformity with what is pleasing and honoring to you. We pray for courage and boldness and peace for each of our supervisors and staff, and we pray that your blessing and favor would rest on each one of them and on all who live and work in Yuba County. We pray that your kingdom would come and your will would be done right here in this room and in this region, just as it is in heaven. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And roll call, Mary.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Here.
Supervisor House,
Here.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Here.
Supervisor Messick.
Here.
Thank you.
Consent?
All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be action items that are routine and can be enacted in one motion.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Bradford will second. Any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will go to special presentations, the Yuba-Sutter Fair. Dave, or designee?
Good morning. Just want to take a couple minutes to read a proclamation for the Yuba-Sutter Fair, honoring its upcoming Yuba-Sutter Fair, the history of the fair, and the upcoming Fair Week. Yuba County Board of Supervisors proclamation recognizing June 25th, 2020, or June 25th through 28th, 2026 as Yuba-Sutter Fair Week. Whereas the first fair was held in Yuba County in 1858 in Marysville, where the State Agriculture Society created a marvelous pavilion, or Pavilion Pavilion, structure on Cortez Square in downtown section of the city, establishing one of the earliest agricultural exhibitions in California. And whereas the Yuba-Sutter Fair has continued its rich legacy for more than 168 years, representing the long-standing tradition of agricultural heritage and community celebration in Yuba and Sutter counties. And whereas the Yuba-Sutter Fair has been held at its current location in Yuba City since 1945, continuing its commitment to honoring the region's agricultural roots. And whereas the fair welcomes more than 60,000 attendees annually, making it one of the largest and most anticipated community events in the region. And whereas the Yuba-Sutter Fair plays a vital role in supporting local youth through programs such as Head, Heart, Hands, and Health, which is 4-H, and the Future Farmers of America, with hundreds of young exhibitors participating each year in the junior livestock auction, demonstrating dedication, responsibility, and agricultural excellence. And whereas the 2026 Yuba-Sutter Fair theme is Barn in the USA, celebrates American agriculture, rural tradition, and the hardworking individuals who contribute to the strength and sustainability of our local community. And whereas the Yuba-Sutter Fair continues to promote education, community involvement, entertainment, and economic vitality throughout the Yuba and Sutter counties, now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Yuba County Board of Supervisors do here proclaim the fourth week of June each year as the Yuba-Sutter Fair Week, and encourage all residents to recognize and celebrate the contributions of agriculture, youth, and community spirit represented by the Yuba-Sutter Fair. Thank you.
Well, good morning, Yuba County Board of Supervisors. Thank you all so much for this invitation. On behalf of the Yuba-Sutter Fair Board and our staff, I'd like to thank you again for this honor and this prestige and this recognition. The Yuba-Sutter Fair, of course, a very long-term event. We couldn't do it without the support of all of our local leadership. And again, we're very thankful for the relationship that we have with all of our leaders throughout both of our communities, but especially here with Yuba County today. Thank you for the support that you continuously provide the fairgrounds. Along with your support, it takes a tremendous amount of community support to put on such an annual event. Today with us, I'm super excited to announce that at the 2026 Yuba-Sutter Fair, we have Adventist Health and Rideout, who will be our presenting and exclusive healthcare sponsor of this year's fair. Just an example of the support that we have for community members, and together we hope to bring an event for both the Yuba and Sutter communities that promotes health, wellness, education, and mostly fun, right? Fun for our families that creates memories for both the Yuba and Sutter communities. Again, thank you all so very much. And again, we really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you all June 25th through the 28th. Thank you so much.
Dave, do you and the board want to join us for a picture over here or underneath the Yuba County logo?
More? Yeah, wear many hats.
Yeah, man, for uniforms.
All right, one more. Right.
Next on the agenda, we have agenda item 216-2026, receive update from Community Development and Services Code Enforcement Department.
Morning, Chair, members of the board. Jeremy Strang with Community Development and Code Enforcement. Thank you for this opportunity today to share with you what code enforcement's been up to over the last year. Today's presentation will largely be focused on calendar year 2025. I got to tell you, every time I put this presentation together, I find it very exciting to see all that the team accomplishes throughout the year. And I attempt to highlight all of those incredible results by showing you meaningful pictures of some of those projects. And these depictions are only a fraction of the work that actually gets done. And I hope that the tidbits of what I do give you creates enthusiasm about code enforcement and the importance of the program. Our focus continues to be on your board's priority as I understand them, and this understanding generally comes through the strategic plan as well as conversations that I have with each of you. I believe the slide deck will demonstrate code enforcement's dedication to the priorities, including maintaining safe access to our rivers, increasing safety within our prime commercial corridor, reducing illicit sign placement, removing personal property stored within public spaces, discouraging improper parking or storage of inoperable vehicles, disposing of illegal dumped refuse, and the abatement of dangerous buildings. So this next slide highlights our team and our enforcement partners. As you know, these relationships are extremely valuable. Relationships promote synergy and collaboration to produce innovative solutions and better outcomes as we carry out your board's priorities. I will tell you the team is here today. I invited them. They're behind my left shoulder here in front because I believe this presentation is twofold. It's not only informational to your board, but it's also a way for me to celebrate the accomplishments of this team and praising them for their efforts. So this next line, getting into a graph. So this graph, there's not much I want you to focus on here. It just is a relationship between cases open and cases closed per year. Here's what I'll point out. The lines are converging there on the right, which is where we are today. The very cool thing I find is that we closed more cases in 2025 than we opened, which isn't something that's happened in a long time, with the exception of the mess there in 2022, and that was coming out of COVID. You know, our complaints were quite high in 2020, 640 received that year, down to 494 in 2022. And I would say there's about a 30% increase from 2022 to 2025. Not sure why that is, but that's what the numbers show us. So 632 new cases in 2025. This is where the complaints took us. Primarily Linda and Olivehurst, the top two, all the way to Hallwood there on the far right, one complaint and one case. This is very similar to last year, not much difference in the makeup of this particular chart. This is representative of the hard work that the team does. This is where our highly focused time is spent. And these activities may interrelate with one another, but they don't necessarily have a one-to-one relationship. And what I mean by that is you can see there are 85 notice and orders that were issued last year. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see 85 abatements because there is overlap between the years. But what it does represent is the hard work of the team in abating nuisances, the work represented by pictures throughout this presentation. So you can see 85 notice and orders issued last year. That's quite a lot. It led to 8 stipulation agreements, and I'll touch on those later in the presentation. We oversaw 51 abatements. 9 of those were county-led, and 42 were voluntary. So they all got an order, and 42 folks decided to comply, which was great. We posted 82 buildings unsafe to occupy. 4 of those happened to be dwelling units that were occupied, and they received relocation assistance from our department. We executed 11 inspection warrants, participated with METU on 56 marijuana cases, and you can't see it there, but there were, I believe it's 11 cost hearings brought before your board last year. Most all of this that you see is funded through our cost recovery efforts. That is billing for our administrative and abatement costs, as well as those cost accounting hearings I just mentioned coming to your board. The other thing that covers these costs is Measure K contributions. So very important for what you see here in the cost recovery efforts that we have and those Measure K funds. I separated this slide out. This is our abandoned vehicle abatement authority. So this is for vehicles that are inoperable, wrecked, dismantled in public view. The funding source for this is the state AVA, which is represented by a $1 or $2 fee collected with your vehicle registration. It's transmitted to the authority and then further dispersed amongst the member entities, which is County of Yuba, City of Marysville, and City of Wheatland. So this represents Yuba County's, what we did, 237 abatements, 145 of those were voluntary. We towed 92 vehicles, and of those, 36 were recreational vehicles. And I point those out because we're seeing more and more recreational vehicles, and they're very expensive to tow and destroy. So this slide, this highlights the remarkable and second-to-none partnership with community development, code enforcement, and the sheriff's office. The two deputies that we have assigned to us are funded through Measure K. This is a collaborative approach, bridges gaps in enforcement by combining our capabilities and increases our officer safety. So these are not traditional patrol deputies, if you will, in the sense that they're not dispatched to calls, and that's represented in that first number there, 172, so not too many. They're responsible for self-initiating enforcement-related actions to community concerns and areas that may otherwise be less of a priority for law enforcement. And that isn't to say that the work isn't important. It's just that we all have limited resources, and it's how we distribute those resources to get things done. So these two deputies, their focus assists in outreach of homeless, along with camping and personal property storage enforcement. They are the liaison for METU, which is the marijuana task force team. They took the lead last year in parking enforcement, so that would be different enforcement than the previous slide of AVA. They also work in our prime commercial corridor to patrol and engage with businesses, as well as waterway and setback levy enforcement. So you can see self-initiated incidents, 1,165, that's a lot. Engagements with the HEART team, 384. 127 arrests, 63 citations, and 122 criminal cases. Now, those things represent things like stolen vehicle recoveries or confiscation of illicit drugs, and even felony arrests. So very, very important work that these guys are doing. And then the last two, 95 vehicles, I'm going to touch on those on the next slide, and illegal camping abatements, 97. I'll also touch on that in a later slide. So parking enforcement, Deputy Bronson's done a great job. He's issuing citations, offering education, and in some instances, towing vehicles that are improperly parked or stored on the roadway and in violation of the vehicle code. You can see about 95 vehicles there last year were subject to that. And then our deputies also partner with our hand crew. You can see about 97 camps cleaned up. That is representative of that. So speaking of our hand crew, these guys are amazing and continue to exceed my expectations every year. You can see it in the numbers. Nearly 387,000 pounds of refuse removed from our area and disposed of properly. 629 tires. And then late last year, we embarked on another program for mattress recovery and disposal. And you can see in the few months there, 21 mattresses. I like to say that without them, who would do this work? And I'm not sure who it would be or if it would even get done. And so, again, their importance is invaluable to code enforcement's mission and its efforts in cleaning up abandoned homeless camps, keeping our waterways clean and safe, roadside dumping, vegetation trimming and removal, and much more. So these are just a couple of before and afters. This would be representative mattress cleanup. Here's an illegal tire dump. And then again, nearly 387,000 pounds of hazardous waste and refuse removed. Pictures there representing paints and solvents. That's a burned boat in that lower photograph. This was an illegal dump up at Parks from our bridge that we cleaned up. This is a hilltop off of Lyndhurst, an illegal camp there, and then it became a dumping site. River access ways. So you can see the RD 784 blocks here. And so this is access to the river and the illegal dumping that occurred there. This particular slide doesn't look like much, but I got to tell you, again, if it's not these guys picking this stuff up, who's going to be doing it? And if we don't get this scooped up quickly in our riverways, it's going to find its way to the water or it's going to grow. And so, again, these guys are doing an amazing job of keeping our area clean and our waterways clean. And so here's a picture of Jacob. He's out down by the river there cleaning up, and then the conveyances to our waterways there being cleaned up as well. So I will point out that these two guys are funded through Measure K, water agency funds. And so this is also very important. I know we've got some things going on with water agency, but this is what these guys do, keeping our community clean. So this next slide, this highlights our reestablished partnership with SCIP, or the Sheriff's Community Improvement Program. It used to be called SWAP. We've re-engaged with them, and we're taking folks out once a week. This program is for low-level offenders that qualify to perform community service in lieu of jail time. And these are the focus areas that we try and take those folks as we bring them, and it augments our hand crew's work. And then just a couple of photographs demonstrating this is cleaning up on Simpson Lane. This is between Highway 70 and North Beale Road. Here's some vegetation over by Health and Human Services. It was an attractive nuisance to homeless encampments and junk and debris. We trimmed those trees up and had the vegetation removed. And I believe this is a homeless camp off of Simpson Lane somewhere that they assisted with. So great work. And they also help us with those conveyance to our waterways. So great partnership. I'm glad we were able to reestablish that. We're getting a lot of folks that are participating. This slide just highlights our cooperation between the planning department and code enforcement. So we're part of the same agency, but we work together to remove unpermitted and illegal signs that are a nuisance to the community. They can become refuse if not picked up. They can create visual confusion, distraction, and even hazardous driving conditions. So you can see over 100 signs removed last year, and I think we were able to immediately notice the positive impact by removing those. METU Assist, so this is the marijuana enforcement task team. We continue to partner with them, 56 properties last year. There's a lot of camaraderie of agencies coming together for the common goal of reducing illicit marijuana cultivation in our community, the negative impacts it has on both our community and the environment. So after law enforcement does what they do, code enforcement goes in, and we're left with a myriad of violations that continue to exist. You can see that represented here in these pictures. Nothing new to your board. And then when we're done, this is what the property looks like, and this was an example on Reed Lane and Rackerby last year. So I'm going quick. I've got always got a lot of content for your board, but here's where I want to pause for a moment and say, what's this all mean? And I'll tell you what it means for me. As you navigate the county, you know that code enforcement's working hard to keep access to our waterways clean and safe for recreational activities. Illegal camps and improper storage of personal property is being removed quickly. Vehicles are properly parked and aren't creating hazards. Signs aren't creating confusion or becoming refuse, and properties associated with illegal marijuana cultivation are being cleaned up. And the next set of slides will be those dangerous buildings that I talked about earlier, and I'll go through these kind of quick. So all these next slides were subject to abatement orders. This first round is a few that we did. The county led those abatements. This is a smaller cleanup on Highway 70 in District 10. There was a lot of refuse. It was a vacant parcel. We caused it to be boarded over and that refuse removed. This was a substandard and dangerous dwelling, some inoperable vehicles, et cetera. We caused all that to be removed from the property there on Sun Avenue in Linda. There's one on D'Antoni Road, a substandard mobile home and accessory buildings. We caused those to be removed. This was a large parcel by Edgewater, 10 acres, full of junk, trash, and debris. The dwelling had been subject to multiple fires. People were coming and going, very bad condition, and we were able to get that property cleaned up as well. Here's one on 11th Avenue in Olivehurst. This one was, we executed an inspection warrant. The property was so bad, we summarily abated those conditions, leaving the property in a clean, public nuisance-free condition. So these next set, again, still there are notice and order to abate issued, and the property owner comes in and cleans up the property. And you can see this was an abandoned attractive nuisance accessory building, caused us some problems. The owner did go ahead and abate that. Here's some inoperable vehicles up in Edge Hill Way in Lomarica. Property on LaPorte Road in Brownsville was a nuisance property for many, many years. We were able to get that cleaned up. Typical of a substandard mobile home in Virginia Road in Olivehurst, substandard dwelling on Ardmore. Another dangerous building, 8th Avenue in Olivehurst. Here's one on Scott Grant Road in Lomarica. So you can see all the work that goes into this. This was a terrible mess on South Gledhill. The neighbors were very happy when this was cleaned up. And then here's one on the corner of 11th and Pacific. Also burned mobile home, burned recreational vehicles, all sorts of junk and debris got cleaned up. So these next set of slides just want to highlight what we've done in the commercial corridor because that is one of your board's priorities. This is an overview here, and I just kind of highlight that for you so you know where we're talking about. These shape files, if you will, represent notice and order to abate where we've actually done abatement work on that corridor. And then these properties are where we spend a lot of our time patrolling and making sure that they tend to be hot spots. We don't want them to explode and have problems arise there. So for 2025 specifically, this is some of the things that we did. You can see this was an old boat repair facility and a gas station at one time. We convinced the owner to tear that down because it was a nuisance to the community. This particular property, this is north, very north end of North Beale as you take the on-ramp to Highway 70. Extreme law enforcement problem property where law enforcement was going there quite regularly. We worked with the property owner to get that cleaned up and all the folks removed from that property, no longer a law enforcement issue. This was a county-led abatement on Hammond and Smartsville Road. This big accessory building was actually in the county's right-of-way on 2 planes, and so we caused that to be removed. And this, you may recognize, this is the old Pace Industries property. There are 3 separate parcels that had buildings that were in active collapse. We had inoperable vehicles, junk and commercial equipment, as well as people occupying RVs. We issued an order. We cleaned this property up. Looks great today, much better than it did, and no longer a safety hazard for the community. So this last set of slides I've labeled for you stipulation agreements, infill, and economic development. So I just want to kind of talk about the correlation between what code enforcement does when we demolish buildings and we have empty lots. There's infill opportunity there for local developers or others to come in and build something new. Stipulation agreements are exactly that. We have an owner that's unwilling or unable to abate the nuisance. They decide they want to sell the property. We give notice to the buyer, if you will, let them know what is expected or what the county may do, and then give them a time certain in which to comply with the order that we have. We've been talking internally with in CDSA about this, and we do believe there may be something here to share with your board. So maybe at one of our next quarterly reports, you'll see a bit more on this topic. But I'll run through these really quickly so you can see that, distressed properties that are in need of work and cleanup. This is an example. Here's another example on Glenmore and Olivehurst. You got junk and debris. They're fixing the house up inside and out, doing landscape work. And here's another example on 16th Street in Olivehurst. You can see that aerial. There's just the amount of garbage and debris that finds its way to these properties. And someone came in, purchased the property, and that's what it looked like at the end and being offered for sale. So amazing work. That's all I have for your board today. In closing, I always want to thank your board, the county administrator's office, county counsel's office, the sheriff's office, and all the other departments and agencies that assist code enforcement in its mission to keep the county clean. Certainly the importance of the financial support of Measure K and the Water Agency to allow all of what you've seen today to happen. I think without that support, we would not be as successful, nor would we have the positive impacts on the communities that you see here. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Jeremy, that's 16 years of very, very hard work and improvement.
Thank you.
You've got what, 10 people now?
We have 4. I think it's 4 officers and a supervisor. We have some great admin help. We have our 2 hand crew folks and 2 deputies. One of them is here today. So, this is. We were down to 1 person. Tracy Clark was the only officer in 21 actually, and we were able to stand up another team that I would say is quite well oiled and quite efficient in doing what it needs to do.
Well, long way from 09.
Oh, yes.
So through the chair, I had a comment, Jeremy, on maybe your second slide. You said you didn't know why cases seem to be increasing.
Yes.
My thought is people are seeing what you guys are getting done, so they're more apt to turn more cases over to you because, you know, it wasn't that long ago the chatter was, oh, there's no point in calling, they don't do anything. And I think the community now sees what you guys are doing and appreciates it. So that's probably why you're seeing more cases.
Yeah, I had an idea myself. I won't necessarily share it today, but I've been watching these numbers for over 20 years, and I will share it with you. You can see, and I appreciate your insight because I haven't validated anything that was my thought, but in 2020, when there were more people at home and maybe economic sentiment wasn't great, more complaints came in. And then as the economy felt better, we saw that drop. And I'm wondering, and I haven't looked, if building permits spiked that year. So, but I agree with you. I think that's great. And thank you. I take that as a,
Yeah, it was meant as a compliment.
thank you so much.
And through the chair, Jeremy, I think it's great work that you guys are doing. So I always kind of focus on the kids, and I'm happy that our kids don't have to grow up thinking that it's normal to see just trashed houses in their neighborhood and things like that. One that I can think of specifically is I went on the salmon tours, salmon expeditions with some of the 4th grade classes this year, and up there under Parks Bar Bridge, I called one morning because there was a big pile of debris, and you and CDSA got it out real quick, or Public Works got it out real quick. But the kids come there to experience nature and offload their bus right underneath Parks Bar Bridge, and it's also the dumping ground for any bad things, and I think recently a body or something like that too. But we got to focus on those areas, even though it seems like it might be a little bit of a waste of money to drive off the beaten path and remove that debris. And it does have an effect, and all those kids see it, and they get to have a good nature-involved day instead of starting their day with a pile of debris and garbage in the middle of where they're trying to get their work done. And then too, on my district, West Linda is looking fantastic, and it's just all those new curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. It's kind of encouraged people to expect more, and so I expect our calls to go up in West Linda. And then in District 10, I know we're kind of those ones off the beaten path, but as the fire season gets here and in the winter months we have the drainage issues, you guys are quick to get the debris cleared out of all those areas. So I'm happy that we've been able to support it in the past with the water agency. I'm hoping for a quick recovery so we can figure things out. But good work to you and your team. Thank you.
Through the chair, just a quick thank you for you and your team and all the work that you do. I know it's easy for us to notice kind of onesie twosie around where we go, certain things that might be getting cleaned up, but to see a presentation like this that really shows the scope and the magnitude of what you're doing across the county, it really brings it all home and shows just the tremendous difference that you and your team make in our communities. So thank you.
Great presentation. Shout out to Tracy. Thanks for sticking with us for so long when you were alone. Mad props. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Mary, public communication.
Yes, any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. And through the chair, we have one card. We have Mr. Tony Farley, and I do not see anyone on Zoom.
Tony Farley, I'm back from sickness. Thank you, Seth Fuller, the tax majority guy. Thank you, Jan Bender. Hopefully Jan Bender look for the majority papers in our office. Look for that job fair application. Look for the job fair information from George for you. Okay, look for it. And Kevin, it's Chief Saxon. There you go. Supervisor Meskis, the super stallion Italian horse, like the Malfa, man. And Gray Bradford, the Sacramentan guy, favorite Sacramentan right there, same as self. And Supervisor House, the big house. And last and least is retire on duty, Andy Vasquez, Marine Corps veteran, BW, and sure Reserve Deputy. I'll be missing him for sure. I'm missing talking about anti-marijuana laws. I can't stand marijuana. Good job, code enforcement, for showing marijuana. You too, Annie. And Mary, I miss Mary. And good job to Sheriff, the two-star UBC Sergeant Sheriff, and Rick, the new supervisor, and also Stephanie, the future mayor from Marysville, hopefully, the future mayor, and Jeremy from code enforcement, Jennifer, Dr. Lil, and probation, the probation chief. Thank him for his service. And thank you, everybody, for your service.
Thank you, Tony. All right, we'll move to county departments and probation.
Yes, so all matters listed under county departments are action items which will be considered and voted on separately. Our first agenda item is 162-2026. It's probation. Approve various budget adjustment requests for Measure K projects and various miscellaneous adjustments due to categorical purchases and employee benefit payouts.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Jan Rockwell. I'm with probation. This item is for mid-year adjustments to the probation budget and to move some Measure K savings that occurred in the first half of the year to the Measure K funded radio improvement project and capital asset equipment line. There are no increases to the general fund or Measure K for this request. Any questions?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor House,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item we have is 163-2026, probation, approved budget adjustment request for various benefit line adjustments due to employee attrition, increased construction in progress for Camp Singer renovations funded by contingency Organization 1750050, and increased capital asset furnishings and maintenance of equipment through savings in professional services.
Jan Rockwell with probation again. This is for the juvenile hall budget, and it is miscellaneous mid-year budget adjustments and bringing in some money from the juvenile hall contingency fund to fund the Camp Singer remodel project and using savings from professional services due to the change in healthcare providers to finish out the project with purchase of furnishings and capital assets as well. Any questions I can answer?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item we have is 178-2026, Sheriff Coroner. Approve various mid-year budget adjustment request forms for animal care services, Sheriff Boat Grant, and Sheriff Jail budgets.
Well, before you start, I'm sorry, was there any public comment on the previous two items from probation for those budget adjustments?
I move to approve.
Excellent choice. We will carry the motion then.
Wonderful. Good morning, Board. Nick Morzinski with Yuba County Sheriff's Office. Kind of the theme today, we are also asking for some mid-year budget adjustments to our animal care services, the Sheriff Boat Grant budget, and the jail budgets. The total for this is all due to increased costs in providing our services, and it totals approximately, well, actually exactly, $400,776. There's going to be no general fund impact out of that. We're going to be moving some money in salary savings that we got from the jail over to the various budgets to cover that. Additionally, we're going to use the Inmate Welfare Fund, some money from the California Department of Public Health, and restitution cases as well. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Public comment.
None.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen.
Next agenda item we have is 204-2026, County Administrator. Approved budget adjustment in the amount of $11,200 to account number legal services directly related to care court services provided by Public Defender.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Emily Bakken, Management Analyst with the County Administrator's Office. The item before you this morning is a budget adjustment reflecting an increase of $11,200 in both revenue and expenditures to account for care court costs related by the Public Defender's Office as part of the state mandated care court program. The requested adjustment, along with the accompanying invoice, outlines the public defender's expenses for care court services, which includes case management, legal representation, training, and administrative support. This action will formally recognize the state care court revenue intended to offset these costs and ensures that the program is funded without impacting the county's general fund. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Public comment? Motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And through the chair, I'd just like to say thank you guys for helping fund the care court and going after implementation. There's a lot of counties that aren't implementing, and we're a little bit behind Sutter County on numbers for people enrolled in care court. I see that through the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, but it's good to see that we're pushing through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is 212-2026, County Council approved budget adjustment request form in the amount of $96,648 to various accounts. $82,606 to account number legal services, $7,432 group health, $6,234 to management leave, and $378 to vacation. Thank you.
Chairman Fuhrer, members of the Board of Supervisors, Janet Bender, County Council. County Council is requesting a budget amendment because our target revenue will not be met due to fewer hours billed than expected to both Trillia for general counsel legal work and Department of Health and Human Services for CPS legal matters. And also because we had a higher expense than budgeted due to resignations of staff, which caused unanticipated leave payouts, filling an attorney vacancy with a transfer at a higher rate than budgeted, and unanticipated changes in benefits from waiver to benefits coverage. We were able to reduce the amount we need by postponing Muni Code updates, delaying the filling of an attorney vacancy, and making internal expenditure adjustments to $96,648, which is the amount of general fund we are requesting. I'm happy to answer any questions from your board.
Any public comment?
Through the chair, just have a couple questions. So are we in a good standing? Where will we pull this $96,000 from, Kevin? And what can we do to further reduce this, knowing that we'll probably see those same reductions, I'm guessing, for next year for the billable hours?
Yes, and that'll be addressed through the budget process for next year. But for this fiscal year, the request before you today would be $96,000 being pulled from our general fund contingency, which is quite robust. I believe we have over 1.5 million in general fund contingency, so there's still adequate funds in that account for the remainder of the fiscal year. Now, that is something that we'll be recommending as part of next fiscal year's budget to restore the 96,000 pulled so that we maintain that same level for next year as well.
Okay, thank you. So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Supervisor Vasquez? Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor
Public
Messick?
comment. Oh, he already asked for public comment.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Motion passes.
But we can just do a general public comment at the end to cover anything I missed.
Last item on county departments is agenda item 218-2026. County Administrator approved memorandum of understanding with the City of Wheatland and Olivehurst Public Utility District regarding a county loan of up to $10 million for the South County Infrastructure Project, and authorized chair to execute.
Yes, good morning, Chair, members of the board. Kevin Mallon, Yuba County Administrator. So the item before you today is in regards to a project that I believe the board has been briefed on basically over the last 5 years. This is a partnership that It has been going on for some time now between Yuba County, City of Wheatland, Oliver's Public Utility District, the Yuba Water Agency, and then also development partners in southern Yuba County. As part of the board's broader vision, we want to make sure we have the infrastructure needed so we can kind of realize the South Yuba County's full development potential. And as part of that, it's been identified over the years that we need sewer services in order to realize that development potential. We also need roads, we need water, we need broadband. There's a whole list of infrastructure, but sewer has definitely been highlighted and focused. And so this partnership has been working on this project for the last 5+ years. And so just to kind of for the public's information as well, the project has kind of coalesced into a connection of sewer services between the City of Wheatland and Oliver's Public Utility District's wastewater treatment plant, so that that whole area of southern Yuba County will be able to be served with sewer services, and that sewer will be treated at the Oliver's Public Utility District wastewater treatment plant. The City of Wheatland's sewer treatment plant is near end of life. It's a rather old facility, and what was identified, it was more cost effective for the City of Wheatland and that area of Yuba County to be basically all of that sewer to be conveyed by a new system up to the Oliver's wastewater treatment plant. Now that actually created an opportunity for us with a grant from the State Water Resource Control Board. The State Water Resource Control Board looks for kind of regional projects where it results in less sewer treatment plants in the state. And so that's put us in a position where the state will grant $75 million towards this project in order to meet both state and local goals when it comes to wastewater treatment. Now, there's been a lot of momentum on this project with the grant, with a lot of support from the Yuba Water Agency helping fund the design and environmental of the project up to this point. As the board's well aware, there's been some changes with the Yuba Water Agency ability to fund projects like this moving forward. Prior to February 13th, what was envisioned with the Yuba Water Agency would assist this project with its local match and kind of loan to the City of Wheatland and Oliver's Public Utility District. They needed local match in order to get the project over the finish line. Post February 13th, as I've made the board aware, we've been working closely with our partners on alternatives to that. How can we preserve that $75 million grant and keep this project moving forward? Both the City of Wheatland and Oliver's Public Utility District have kind of remained committed to the project and have continued on with bidding out the construction contracts for the respective areas of work. And as I outlined in the staff report, we identify them as contracts 1 and 2. And we have at firm numbers now for what it'll cost to construct this piece of the project. We have now the $75 million grant identified, and now we know what the delta is. And as I outlined in the staff report, the delta at the local level is roughly $40 million. And as outlined in the staff report, we've looked at a number of sources to be able to generate those funds. First and foremost, the City of Wheatland has looked at how much do they have in cash available that they can put towards this project to close that gap, which is just over $5 million, actually just over $5.5 million that they would put into the project to cover that local match. And then also looking at the development community that will be utilizing the project in the future, and knowing that there's going to be a fee to pay in the future for development to connect to the project. Are people willing to step up and advance fund their fee now in order to secure the local match for the project? And as identified in the staff report, we're pretty confident that we'll be able to secure $15 million in advance fee payments from the development community towards that $40 million delta. So that between those two sources, that narrows it down to roughly $20 million that's left in order to kind of close the gap, in order to be able to construct this project and utilize that $75 million state Water Resource Control Board grant. And what I'm before you today on and proposing is that basically half of that is funded by a loan from the county to both the city of Wheatland and Oliver's Public Utility District that would be repaid in the future as additional development occurs and pays their connection fee, or what we call the conveyance fee. And that's how we would be repaid. And then parallel to that would be a similar $10 million loan from Enterprise Rancheria that would also be repaid by future users of the system through conveyance fees. And the item before the board today is a memorandum of understanding that would kind of outline the terms that I would have to come back to the board at a later date to finalize with an actual loan agreement that would outline the specifics on when those funds would be transferred to the two entities and have more details. But all of the conceptual terms of this $10 million loan are outlined in the attached MOU. I believe we have people today here from both the city of Wheatland and Oliver's Public Utility District, and also from Enterprise Rancheria and Hard Rock, that I'm sure be happy to answer, along with myself, any questions the board has about the project and what's being asked of the board today in terms of approving this MOU. All right.
So we're going to have some public comment, but if you guys want to do questions first.
So through the chair, I don't have any questions. I do have some things I'd like to say, but I can absolutely say them after public comment. That might be the best time.
Okay. All right, then we'll go to public comment.
Hey, Bill Zanoni?
That microphone. Well. Okay.
Up a little bit. Good morning. I'm Bill Zanoni, City Manager for the City of Wheatland. Also with me here this morning is Mayor Lisa McIntosh and Councilmember John Abe, as well as Terry Daly, the former retired Assistant General Manager from Yuba Water, who's agreed to work with us and help us get this project hopefully over the finish line. I'd like to start this morning by thanking you for considering this funding request. As Kevin mentioned, the City of Wheatland, Oliver's Public Utility District, Yuba Water, and Yuba County staff have been working on this project over the past 6 years to plan a regional wastewater solution for South Yuba County. This regional wastewater project is a long-term sustainable solution that provides significant environmental and water quality protection benefits. This project will result in the decommissioning of Wheatland's current wastewater treatment plant, which is right now over 60 years old. It is in very poor operating condition and does not meet current environmental and wastewater treatment standards. But just as importantly, this project also addresses future wastewater master planning for future expansion and connections in South Yuba County, including as phase 2 of this project, a wastewater line down 40 Mile Road, which will allow for the development of the entertainment zone. This project will allow for future expansion in Wheatland and also future expansion in the county's commercial and industrial zone. As Kevin indicated, we thought solidified funding for this project. We have been working with the State Water Resources Control Board for about 3 years now, and we were almost there. However, as a result of the Yuba Water Agency penstock pipe failure in February, we have had to regroup and search for alternate funding sources in order to not lose the $75 million grant funding from the state. This loan from Yuba County is a key component of that replacement funding. So what I would just like to do this morning on behalf of the entire Wheatland City Council and the citizens of Wheatland, I would just like to tell you that we greatly appreciate Yuba County Board of Supervisors' support for this important regional project. Thank you.
Was there any other public comment?
To the chair.
Hard Rock, it looks like, is going to add.
Oh, there he is.
Good morning. Thank you to the board for allowing me to speak today and to join you all on behalf of Enterprise Rancheria. I'm joined by Craig Barkus, who's our tribal administrator, and on behalf of the Hard Rock, taking the opportunity today to thank you for your consideration of this project. As you know, the Hard Rock and Enterprise Rancheria invested over $500 million over the past 10 years to develop the integrated destination resort that now sits here in the county. Over the past 5 years since we've opened, we've had a $2.5 billion impact on the region. We've hired thousands of team members, donated over $5 million in philanthropy to the community, and continue to expand and grow here in the current Sacramento region. So as we look at all of the successful things we've been able to contribute here to the community over the past 5 years and celebrate that, today is clearly about looking forward to the vision of what Enterprise and Hard Rock would like to see developed here in the region. We currently sit on 40 acres that we're going to continue to expand and grow the integrated destination resort. We've had over 12 million people who have visited the property since we opened up our doors over 6 years ago. And we have an additional 43 acres that the tribe is going to continue to diversify their business investments. But as you all know, the primary driver of our economic development and the future of what the tribe would like to see come to fruition is the Enterprise Sports and Entertainment Zone. And so we are in the process of acquiring 342 acres of land between the current integrated resort, the Hard Rock property, and the Toyota Amphitheater. We intend to finish the acquisition of that land sometime early next year. And we're already in the immediate initial stages of the pre-design and development and the due diligence to help design what we believe will be something that will change the face of Yuba County and this entire region. It'll be a first master plan design for the sports and entertainment zone, which will incorporate multiple facets of entertainment programming, including a sports and retail entertainment area, a hospitality corridor, and a fairgrounds and rodeo destination that I think millions of more people in the future will be able to enjoy here, which will, again, continue to drive growth, economic investment, hiring and job growth, as well as tax and other incentives here in the community. None of that will happen if this pipeline is not built. So we are here to express our support for this project. We, as Mr. Mallon articulated earlier, the tribe is entertaining an investment as well to help support this, not only in your phase 1, but in the phase 2, which will bring a pipeline to the entertainment zone on 40 Mile Road. And we are here to express our support for that project and ask you for your consideration in making this future investment happen to the benefit of everybody here in Yuba County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair. There's one person that's made this all possible, is sitting out in the audience, and I don't know if she wants to come up or not and say hello and tell us how long this took her. If she's able to come up there, Terry Daly. Without you, it wouldn't have happened.
Thank you, Supervisor Vasquez, for inviting me up. I'm retired, not infirm yet, so I, yes, can come up. And thank you, board, and thank you in your roles as Yuba Water Board, because without your support initially, back in 2019, when we first started talking about this, And Robert Bendorf, the CAO at the time, said, oh, that'll cost at least $25 million. Well, here we are. Thank you for your support during this whole thing. And thank you to all of the partners. I mean, without Kevin's leading this, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Bill Zanoni, who, I've said this before, but he called the State Water Resources Control Board just about every week for the past couple years. And thank you to OPUD and Mary Jane Griego, who has really taken up the charge. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Move to approve. Through the chair. Just a couple comments. I'll second before we. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that's out of order, but it's okay. So I just had a couple questions. So again, the $10 million loan, how does that affect the county? I mean, where does it come from? What period are we talking about implementing this and deploying it?
Sure, if I could, through the chair. As mentioned in the staff report, the recommendation would be to not utilize any of the county's designated reserves or contingencies that you budget for each year. This would be funds that we've held in trust outside of those. Primarily, just to get into the specifics, the majority of these funds, or nearly all of it, would be available through a trust fund that has that's holding funds that were part of our settlement with PG&E after the Cascade Fire and Camp Fire impacts that occurred here in Yuba County. And so those funds are one-time funds that we would recommend pulling from for this, along with, we also have a trust fund that we could pull from if needed to cover the entire $10 million. That would be funds that we hold for in case of need for facility, enhancements for county facilities specifically, or repairs. But the majority we have available through that, what we call our PG&E Settlement Trust Fund. As far as the repayment, as I mentioned before, it would be repaid by future development through the collection of the conveyance fee that would be collected from either OPUD or Wheatland, depending on where the development occurs. That mechanism will be finalized through a conveyance fee impact fee study, for lack of a better term, that Economic Planning Systems is currently working on that. Obviously, we needed to finalize what the costs are going to be, and then they'll have that fee in place. And as outlined in the MOU, both OPUD and Wheatland would adopt that fee prior to either of these construction contracts being completed. And really, the rate of repayment will really depend on the rate of development. As you just heard from Mark Bertha, if we have something as large happen as what's envisioned by Enterprise and Hard Rock there on that 342 acres, I think the repayment will be rapid based on just not only the demand from the sports entertainment zone, but from the surrounding South County area that will respond to that development occurring. You also have the rate of development in the city of Wheatland that will kind of dictate how soon the loan will be repaid.
Okay. And one more question. Is there a way that we could stipulate this, that we would approve it dependent upon the $25 million investment from the private partners? Because I know we said the casino said the Rancheria said they're considering it. And you said that we have people that are committed to 15 more million on top of that, right?
Right. So you're right. The board would be the first one to take action on this, but the way the MOU is structured, the entire local match needs to be secured by the city of Wheatland and OPUD in order to secure that $75 million grant. If that doesn't happen, then there's no county loan to the project, because frankly, then there is no project.
Thank you.
Through the chair, a couple comments. So as Kevin mentioned, this project associated with this agenda item has been needed for decades. And I'm really thankful for the partners that have gotten us this far since 2019. That includes Yuba Water Agency, Yuba County, OPUD, and the city of Wheatland. And thank you all for being here today to support the project. Some people may view this project as primarily about future development, but that's only part of the story. There are significant immediate benefits for existing residents in Wheatland, Plumas Lake, and Olivehurst, even if no additional development ever occurred. The existing wastewater treatment plant in Wheatland needs to be replaced. It does not meet current state standards and cannot be expanded. Without this project, and assuming that there's no outside funding, a new plant could push sewer rates for city residents to over $1,000 per month. That's simply not acceptable. At the same time, the OPUD wastewater treatment plant has excess capacity. Expanding its user base helps spread costs across more customers, which directly benefits current ratepayers in Plumas Lake and Olivehurst, helping reduce future rate increases. And yes, there's also the future of the county to consider. Without this project, development in the city of Wheatland, the sports and entertainment zone, and the employment village simply doesn't move forward. If we don't approve this project, according to the EDC, that's saying no to 9,000 more jobs in our community. It's saying no to no new hotel tax revenue and no to additional property tax and sales tax that help us support critical services like public safety. And it would mean fewer opportunities for our residents to recreate, shop, and dine locally. Some of our private partners, including AKT in Wheatland and Enterprise Rancheria and Hard Rock, understand the importance of this project, which is why they're stepping up, and I thank them for that. I think the county needs to do the same. We've secured $75 million in state funding, and if we can't close the gap, that goes away, along with the investments that we've already made. $2 million from the county already spent, and more than $24 million from Yuba Water Agency contributed, and an additional contributions from OPUD and Wheatland that have already been spent. If we don't act, we risk losing the funding, wasting our prior investments, and missing a once-in-a-generation opportunity to take care of existing problems and secure future tax revenue, future jobs, and future prosperity in our county. So I think, at least for me, this is a really easy thing to do, even though it's a lot of money. I think we can't afford not to do it. It's a strategic investment in affordability, infrastructure, and economic prosperity for our residents. So, thanks.
Any other comments? All right, then we'll proceed to the vote. Did you want to roll call this, or are we going to be okay with a general vote? Okay. Just because of the size and because we're going to be moving money from one account to another, when all of the other examples of us moving from money from one account to another required a budget, this would be a non-planned budget. Why would it not require a roll call?
The item before you today is just the MOU itself.
Gotcha.
So when I come back to the board with the formal loan agreement and a budget adjustment, that will require a 4/5 vote.
I understand that.
Thank you, Chair, for bringing that to our the rest of the board members' attention.
All right, excellent. Well, in that case, we will not do a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We'll go on to ordinances and public hearings. If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. Our first agenda item is 79-2026, County Administrator, Ordinance Hold Public Hearing, Waive Second Reading, and Adopt Ordinance Repealing and Reenacting various chapters of the Yuba County Consolidated Fee Ordinance Code.
Good morning again. Emily Bakken with the County Administrator's Office. At the April 14th meeting, we discussed the proposed ordinance, and there have been no changes or adjustments since that meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
I will open the public hearing. I will entertain public comment. I will look to my board.
So moved.
Second.
I will close public comment. And we need a roll call vote.
Yes, to the chair, if I can have who made the motion?
Andy?
Perfect. Okay. Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor House,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Brian Michelson, Public Works Director, here this morning to talk about the assessments within the Gledhill Landscaping and Lighting District. What we'll be asking for is for a public hearing and to adopt the attached resolution. On April 14th of this month, at the last meeting, the engineer's report was approved. The assessments that we were asking for currently will be the same in 2026 as they are currently in 2025. 26, 27 will be the same as they are in 25, 26, which is $13.20 per dwelling unit at 4,558 dwelling units for a total of $60,165.60. There's no current fiscal impact to the county. With that, I respectfully ask for the hearing and the adoption of this resolution.
I'll open the public hearing. Is there any public comment? One question, there's going to be another issue involving this particular landscaping and lighting district where that will go out to the voters, but that is not what's going on right now.
That will be the Prop 218 process, correct? Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other?
Through the chair. I just want to say thank you guys for keeping in mind the current economic situation in our county and for our constituents and maintaining this amount where it's at. It's part of our lowest income area in the county. And I know we have future processes where they're looking at what the actual cost is going to be to maintain sidewalks and parks and have livable areas. And we're getting to that. So thank you for maintaining this year.
You're very welcome.
All right. I will close the public hearing and we will do a roll call vote. Was there not a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
I will close the roll. I do the things I said I was going to do. Go.
Supervisor Vasquez? Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Freer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next agenda item we have is 170-2026, Community Development Services, public hearing, hold public hearing and adopt resolution determining and imposing assessments within the Linda Street Lighting Maintenance District.
Good morning again, Board of Supervisors. Brian Michelson, Public Works Director. This is for the Linda Street Lighting and Maintenance District. Once again, we're asking for public hearing and the adoption of the resolution to impose the assessments in this district. This is a requirement for the Streets and Highways Code. So it's a standard procedure, bringing this forward to the board. With this one, we were asking for the same thing, to continue to keep those rates the same in 26, 27 as they are currently in 25, 26 at $12 per unit. We've got 3,800 units coming up to $45,600 in revenue. There's no fiscal impact to the county. And so at this time, I'd like to ask that the board adopt the attached resolution.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing. Is there any public comment? Board comment? Board motions?
So moved.
Second.
Closing the public hearing, roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor House?
Yes.
Supervisor Freer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Messick?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have correspondence. The board may direct any item of informational correspondence to department head for appropriate action. We have two agenda items, 205-2026, receive financial statement, independent auditor's report from Foothill Fire Protection District for years ending June 30, 2020 and 21. Second item is 213-2026, receive notice from California Fish and Game Commission regarding regional marine protected area petitions.
All right, we'll go to board staff member reports. We'll start with Andy.
All right, mine's going to be a little bit. Okay, so last week attended the Educator of the Year Awards. Yuba County celebrated the people who make it happen for our kids, and it was a great evening. It was awesome to have two of my fellow supervisors there as well. Just a overall great experience. Feather River Air Quality District, we met last week, working on labor negotiations for next year. Had a special meeting. Attended the SACOG board directors meeting in Supervisor Bradford's place as his alternate. We received a report from Blue Zones about the Yuba-Sutter area, making it a the impact that's been made by the Blue Zones and the bikeable projects and the complete streets projects and things like that that are happening in Yuba-Sutter County. So it's nice to see us getting represented on a regional basis. So when we go to ask for our share of that SACOG money, they know we're doing stuff up here with it. So it's pretty nice to do all that. Attended the CSAC Rural Caucus meeting virtually. It was basically, we have some multi-year budgetary asks of the state of California for HR1 expenses. So things that have changed in who we cover and how we cover them in Yuba County. We have some major asks of the state. And so we're working as a region and as a unit to get those multi-year asks put into state budgets, which is a really hard thing to do when you're in a little red county. So it's nice to have those partners out there. We have let's see here. We have Friendship Parks ribbon cutting is on Saturday, May 9th, and it's going to be at 5660 Alicia Avenue. So if you want to join us, maybe it starts at 2 p.m. Probably if you want parking, get there 1:30, 1:45, something like that. It's going to be the ribbon, or not ribbon cutting, it's the groundbreaking. Sorry. It's going to be a good project. It took a lot of work to get where we're at. Thank you to our staff members who have pushed those through, Nick, a couple others. It's a huge culmination of a lot of years of investment out in West Linda. So it'll be great. And then finally, Hallwood 4-H is having their spaghetti feed. It's their annual fundraiser that supplies multiple kids with scholarships to college, offsets their project costs, like you've heard us talk about earlier. A lot of kids take their projects to the Yuba-Sutter Fair, and every year those costs go up. So we just try to fundraise for them as much as possible. That's at the end of May. I believe it's the May 29th, and tables are available, but I'm buying a couple tables. So if you're interested in going, I'd love to have you as a guest, some of our county staff, some of our Yuba Water staff, and just want to say thank you to the staff for all the work you're doing to keep us running.
So I'm going to thank my fellow board members for their continued support of the South County Infrastructure Project. I was back in DC for Cap to Cap for about a week. So thank you, Supervisor House, for attending SACOG on my behalf and ensuring that they had a quorum of supervisors. And I watched the meeting live, and you did a great job. So we represented us well. Thank you. Tomorrow I have an RCRC Executive Committee meeting, and this afternoon Supervisor House and I are, along with some county staff, meeting with CSAC to tour the 4 to 5 3D house printing neighborhood. So that's exciting that they want to come up and see that. Also attended the Educator of the Year dinner, and it was great to honor those teachers because they do so much for our community, and the other folks that were honored as well in education. And it was good that 3 of us could be there to do that. So I think that's about it for me.
Through the chair, I forgot something. Gary reminded me. So Yuba River Endowment just awarded their over $100,000 in high school scholarships to graduating seniors and continuing students. I'd like to get something put on the agenda in the future to award them with a resolution showing that their commitment doesn't go unrecognized and that we'd love to honor them in Yuba County. So if we could get that on a future agenda, I'd appreciate it.
The only thing I have is Yuba-Sutter Sheriff's Hero Squadron fundraising dinner When Pigs Fly will be May 16th out at the airport on the tarmac. You'll look for social media and buy tickets and show up. It's in your district, Seth.
It's in my district. I'll have to go. Anything else?
No.
County Council?
Nothing, thank you.
See ya.
No, just I have the light that likes to go out. Anyways, I'll keep the board briefed as we hear more from the other funding partners as that project moves forward. And then also I'll keep the board briefed as Three Rivers Levee Improvement Authority kind of works through negotiations with state parks. Currently, all that's really in place is just kind of a letter of understanding between Three Rivers Levee Improvement Authority and the state, where Three Rivers has indicated their willingness to negotiate for the state to acquire Three Rivers land in that Feather River setback area. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics involved in this, and this is going to be a multi-month, if not multi-year process. But I'll keep the board abreast as Three Rivers maneuvers through that process.
So on that subject, I guess I'm curious because we obviously had a lot of constituent excitement because of the newspaper article. Who on the board is involved with that? Is there any supervisors that are involved in that?
Yes. So the board designates two. So the Three Rivers Levee Improvement Authority is a joint powers authority between the county and Reclamation District 784. Its purpose was to construct improvements to the flood control system, primarily in RD 784's district. But its powers actually are county-wide because of the county's involvement. But the board consists, for Three Rivers, consists of two county board of supervisors, two Reclamation District 784 directors, and one that's appointed that requires agreement from both the county and RD 784 to appoint. So currently you have supervisors Vasquez and Bradford that are county board members representing the county on Trilla. From RD 784, you have directors Atwall and Hasty that are on the Three Rivers Levee Improvement Authority, and then the one at-large member is Doug Lofton.
And have those people been involved with the negotiations on the park?
Yes. So the Three Rivers Levee Improvement Authority had a closed session item that gave direction to myself to execute that agreement with the state parks.
Okay. Mary, anything from the clerk's office?
Nothing, thank you.
Anything from the IT office? No? All right. I also did cap to cap, had some interesting meetings. We had everything overlaps, everything interplays, right? So we had a presentation by the realtors about how housing supply is our problem. We have a issue here where we're going to try and increase our housing supply. And so everything feeds in to these solutions. Then I went over to Niagara and I checked out their power station, Tesla coils, which was interesting. Walked along their dewatered tunnel, very similar to our tunnel. So it was interesting things. Tonight, Ella is at Ella's school is a planning meeting for our general plan, where again, we're going to be talking about what things we can bring in, housing, growth, all those things, how those housing growth tracks are not just going to be solid wall-to-wall suburbia, but instead interesting and exciting plans. Thursday, I believe there's a debate of the contestants for Gallagher's seat. So I encourage you guys to attend that. We already had a mention about Friendship Park. There is a VIP speaker that will be hosting that. And so he'll be bringing his insights. We have a question I had about on the budgeting. We talked about that there's a account that is related to the board, but the board doesn't have control of it. And instead, we have the clerk of the board manage it. So is it possible that the board can choose to manage it, or if they choose not to, they can designate the clerk of the board to manage it for them? But that would allow the ability to have control of those funds.
There we go. Let's see if the light stays on for me. So the board controls all of the operating funds through the budget process. So the board appropriates, for example, at the Board of Supervisors has an operations budget that covers the cost of your salaries and benefits, travel, office supplies, et cetera. And then you designate the clerk of the board, who is your appointed department head, to run your operations. So the clerk of the board is the one that is designated by the board to kind of fulfill the direction given to the board through the appropriations of the budget process.
Right. So can we make it so that we can either designate or we can control our budget ourselves?
So the board controls the budget. Are you asking for an individual board member to control the budget? Because that's completely different than the board.
Okay. So I guess that's where I get confused. So for instance, Mike Lee is the department head for CDSA. And so he has a budget that he can make determinations about in addition to a fund that he decides how he's going to get spent.
No, actually, he doesn't get to determine his budget individually. He submits a budget that the board approves his operating funds, but they're for specific purposes, and then he can operate within those specific purposes. For example, Mike's department in CDSA, or one of his departments, Public Works, has a laundry list of capital improvement projects, right? So the board appropriates, based on Mike's recommendation, funds for each of those projects, and the funding source, et cetera. And then now Mike has now delegated that authority to kind of move forward and expend within those appropriations that the board has approved.
Right, and so we have a fund that's been allocated to us, but then we don't make the decisions on that fund within that fund that's been allocated to us. Whereas Mike, if he wanted to encourage Lowe's or Home Depot to build, he would then bring them out, have a luncheon, do a tour of the site, and attempt to encourage development. That would be something that would be within his discretion of his funds, right?
You're going from an individual to a board, and so the board could run, I guess, processing of expenses through the board. For example, the clerk of the board could present, at each board meeting, please approve these invoices that are to be paid out of the board account number XYZ, instead of delegating that to Mary to process those invoices, for example, as clerk of the board. So the board could get to that level of detail. I've seen other entities do that, where the board approves each individual expense at their board meetings. Our board in the past has not gone to that level.
Right. And I'm not asking for that. So I guess my question is that when he makes the decision to bring out Home Depot and Lowe's, he doesn't go to our board for that approval. He makes that decision within the discretion of the accounts that he has. And so he allocates that account to do the things that promote the purposes of his department.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Through the chair. I think it's a lot different because we're 1/5 of a department head at this table. So I think if you came here today in this session, or if you presented to the CAO that you wanted to have the Home Depot people come over and tour your site in Olivehurst that you want them to come to, as long as you had board consensus, I'm pretty sure that they would make it happen. But he's an individual department head. We're 1/5 of a department head. So it has to be collective as the board, right, to give direction. So I think that's the best way to describe it.
And I guess that's my question, is we can't have the chair of the board have that same level of power over an account to do things that the department head has.
Not unless that's a delegation that the full board wants to give to the chair. That is not how we're structured currently.
Okay.
The structure currently, and it's through resolution, the full board is given certain duties to the chair of the board to conduct the meeting itself, review agenda items before they're placed on the agenda, et cetera. But down to the level of operating the funds that the board has for example, travel, office expenses, salary and benefits, that is not something the board delegates to the chair. The board has always delegated that to the department head that operates those funds on your behalf, which is the clerk of the board.
Okay. So is there any interest in having an account that we can manage directly?
No, the chair manages, no.
Okay. All right. And then my other question, we talked about state parks. Was there another ad hoc committee that was supposed to get formed? I forgot if there was.
This would be on sanctuary jurisdictions. If there was, it's not currently on the ad hoc committee list, but if the board so chooses, we could reestablish that.
Through the chair, I'd recommend that we reestablish that ad hoc committee. I think it was just an oversight that it didn't get renewed. We didn't finish the work last year.
Okay. And were there people who wanted to be on the sanctuary ad hoc committee?
Yeah, and I were on there, but.
Okay. So then we will create the ad hoc committee on sanctuary status and have you two gentlemen be on it. And then I had people who recommended various other sister cities. Gilroy, I think, was put out, or Hollister or something. I think somebody else recommended this place in Sweden for Nobel Prizes. I'm not sure. So we will recreate a ad hoc committee to explore other relationships for sister cities as well. And so I'll be on that. And then is there anyone else that had a preference? If not, I'll have Mr. Messick then be the second. And then the last point is the fair did leave off that there was a Browns Valley Alley brisket cook-off, and there's a champion amongst us, and so it was very sad that they left that out. So I just wanted to make sure we all knew that we have a brisket champion. All right, thank you guys.
And I plan on winning again this year.
Excellent. We will recess to close session. After an 11-minute.
Recording stop. Coming up on Tuesday, Government Watch. At 3 p.m., Sutter supervisors have a citizen written ballot measure to replace a fire service parcel tax. It may be on the special August ballot for CSA of voters to have their say. At 6:30 p.m., Marysville Unified School Trustees have a lot on the consent agenda and Teacher Appreciation Week. At 7 p.m. in Yuba City School Trustees act on new course proposals and a consent agenda with lots of stuff. Tuesday on Government Watch, you can support or sponsor. Help keep the community aware with Yuba-Sutter.LIVE.
Yuba-Sutter.LIVE. It's the truth that comes through.